Have you ever asked yourself, I want to buy a property, but it just has the cash flow? Or I want to build my way to the top just based off of cash flow? If you have, I want you to watch this video because I'm going to break down the cash flow illusion and how it's affected me and my portfolio and how it can really accelerate you, if you understand this, to get to the next level and accelerate and build your wealth. Hello everybody, my name is Michael Richter and I'm the owner and managing partner of Double E Properties. Before we get into this, I just want to say every lender, okay, is going to have certain covenants that you have to conform to get financing if you're doing it the conventional way. Now, whether that's based on your portfolio or in each individual property, you're typically going to have to conform something called the DCR ratio. And what that usually means, if it's a 10% DCR, for every dollar you bring in income, or for every dollar you have in expense, you're going to have to bring in $1.10 in income. And that spread, that 10% spread, is going to basically cover any shortfall above and beyond what you already have. So this isn't an exact science, but it's just an idea of how to look past just cash flow alone and look a little bit deeper into what you can do and what the possibilities are in your portfolio. So you're not just addicted to the checks coming in every month and that money slowly building up in your bank account. So let's break this down a little bit. If I have $1,000 a month coming in cash flow, I mean, that's not bad. Off of one property, that could be off of a building. That's not bad, okay? You know, you scale up, you have 5, 10 properties bringing in $1,000. You know, I mean, you're replacing. I mean, if you have a decent income, you're likely going to start replacing your income. The problem is to get there to that $1,000 point in cash flow is that you're going to have a lot of money tied up. So at one point, your money's going to get a little bit strained. And if you want to accelerate your portfolio and start to scale up sooner than later, you're going to have to get a little bit more aggressive sometimes. So instead of, the idea here is instead of having this $1,000 a month cash flow, what you're going to do, if it's possible to refinance that, do a cash out refinance, you're going to cash out on this, okay? You're going to take out like this $1,000 here, for example. If you cashed out and took $160,000 out of the property, yes, this cash flow would get reduced to $764. It's on a 4% loan. It's a 4% interest rate, 30-year amortization. So you're gonna chew into this a little bit, okay? And you're gonna pull some money out. So you're gonna go to your bank and they're gonna give you a bank draft, okay, for $160,000. That's gonna drop your cash flow down to $236, provided, I mean, you can still carry that, right? And you can still get financing in the future for that property. So it's going to drop that down. So you're not going to have that money coming out into your pockets every month. Oh no. But here's the cool thing. Think about this. Like, I want you to wrap your mind around this. Now you've got $160,000. Now, depending on what you want to do, I mean, maybe if you don't want to scale, maybe you take that and you buy your dream home, or you do what you really want. I mean, that's your money, and you're not paying tax on this. $160,000, you're not paying tax because you're not realizing a capital gain. You're just simply drawing money out of the property. Now, keep in mind too, this expense here, if this isn't a business expense, you're not going to be able to write that off. If it's not an expense doing business, you're not going to be able to write that off as an expense accrued doing business. So be careful with the interest payments and how you're writing that off on that. But $160,000, here's the interesting thing. Now I can take that money and control more real estate. So at an 80% loan to value, I can buy 2 $400,000 properties, and I'll have a $320,000 mortgage on that. So that supports my 80% loan to value. 20% down controls 2 $400,000 properties. So now I own $800,000 worth of real estate. And then I'm going to have my multiple profit centers coming in off of 2 properties. Or maybe it's just, maybe it's a small multifamily that's worth $800,000, right? You have $160,000 in. Now remember, there's also private financing too, and different ways to get around just putting down 20% into a property. There's different ways to do that too, but just this is just sort of an overhead view of what you can do with your money. So 160K, 2 properties. So now all of a sudden, I've got this property. I'm not making $1,000 a month, but I'm controlling more properties. So what's happened to my portfolio? Instead of 1 property now, I've now got 3 properties. Now, think about this. If you don't do that, I mean, that's fine. Maybe you're slowing down. Maybe you're just in preservation mode, and you're fine with the $1,000 a month cash flow. But here's the thing. In the big picture, what you're going to want to do is, in 5 years from now, what's this cash flow going to be if you only have 1 property? How much more is this going to be in 5 years? But if you look at the different profit centers involved in real estate, in 5 years, what are your 2 properties going to have? I mean, you're going to have mortgage pay down, you're going to have appreciation. I mean, if you're doing the BRRRR strategy, you're going to be able to force appreciation on these 2 properties. So I like to think, whatever my cash flow is, now maybe I've got 4 tenants paying my mortgage down, paying me an income every month. So I always like to look into the future, and you have to have that. As an entrepreneur, as an investor, you have to have that vision to be able to see the future. So if you're doing this in 5 years from now, if you do really well and you force appreciation, you're finding ways to push your rents up, you're likely going to be able to refinance these 2 properties again, pull out a large sum of money, and now all of a sudden you've got more properties. Maybe it's not quite 160. But maybe in 5 years you only get one property each out of these. You have enough to fund 1 property, depending on how aggressive you are, depending on how much appreciation you're forcing up. So now all of a sudden, instead of owning just 1 property, in 5 years maybe you own 4 properties, you own 5 properties, maybe 6 properties, depending on how aggressive and what type of deals you're finding. So this is just one way of doing it, and I always like to look at, well, what's the highest and best possible use of my money? What's the most aggressive way I can use this money as soldiers to basically take it out, redeploy it, and control more assets? If you ask yourself these questions, you're going to get a little bit more creative, and you're going to be able to build your wealth and scale up faster than if you're just focusing on one thing. So this is just an idea I wanted to get everybody. I mean, this is by no means an exact science. I mean, this is just really an art, and it's tailored around what your expectations are, what your experience is, how involved you want to get into real estate, and how aggressive you want to be. But this is just one idea that I wanted to share with everybody. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, become a subscriber, reach out to me. Until next time, I'm checking out. Take care, everybody.